my style of mixing or my form of mixing, I would specifically mix certain genres. So let's say, I don't know if you guys know what freestyle is. Freestyle, anything from the 80s to the 90s, like Lil Susie or Stevie B or a whole bunch of classic freestyle artists that I guess you can call it Latin hip hop too. You know, Latin hip hop freestyle, 80s, 90s kind of thing. That's what my parents grew up on, and that's what they kind of introduced to me when I was younger. And now I love mixing it because to me it's like classic. So I would mix up freestyle, I would mix up hip hop, I would mix up EDM. My EDM and house mixes were trash back then. Honestly, looking back on it, I think actually I don't have all my old mixes. I decided one day I was just gonna delete them, and like just kind of look forward to what I'm doing now, what I'm gonna be doing in the future. So, you know, SoundCloud mixes has always been there. And I was talking to one of my homies, Legacy, the other day. Shout out my boy Legacy. Shout out Legacy. And yeah, like I was saying, shout out my boy Legacy. We were talking the other day, and he's in the process of releasing one of his singles because he's a rapper and he's a producer. He's in the process of releasing one of his singles, and we were talking, and I was like, bro, honestly, I've never done any of this uploading mixes, uploading content for the plays, for the views, for the likes. I never did it for any of that. I did it out of love and only for the love of it and for the passion of it. You know what I mean? Like that's only what I did it for, and that's still only what I do it for. Of course, likes and plays and all that is real nice, but can't forget to be humble in these kind of settings. You know what I mean? I feel like now, because I've been DJing for 10, 11 years now. I feel like now is a time for me to network and to connect and to meet people inside the music industry. Of course, I have friends like my homie Joe and Ned from back in high school. They used to work on music back in high school during those days, and still working on music now, like I talked about earlier. But I wanted to branch outside of that circle. So everything with the pandemic last year, I got the chance to, I don't know, there was a point in time where I was like, honestly, because I used to be scared of networking, I used to be scared of connecting, I used to be scared to reach out and to show people kind of what I'm about, what I can do, what skills I can bring. And I was always scared of that, honestly. And that's kind of what held me back in terms of gigs, because there was a lot of gigs I turned down because I was like, nah, I can't handle that. Nah, I can't handle like a quinceanera. Nah, I can't handle any of that because I thought I
Every
was.
time, bro, I'd set you up for quinceañeras, birthday parties, and then I stopped asking you after like the fourth time, bro. I'm like, bro, I kept
Yeah,
pushing you to do it, bro. You never wanted to.
yeah, I know. That's another story. But I've always held myself back in terms of progressing and building a brand, which I mean I've have built a brand, I guess you can say, but like building a brand to not just my circle, but to everybody. So now I'm kind of facing the repercussions of me not being able to network and connect, which led me to, now networking, connecting, feeling comfortable and feeling confident to reach out. Like I said, Legacy is one of my homies I met on Instagram. I saw him do one of these beat battles, and one of my friends posted up him doing one of these 90-day beat challenges. And to that, I'm like, man, this production is real cool. So, after that, I hit him up like, hey, I like your stuff, and I kind of explain what I do. Like I'm a DJ. If we could ever work on something, just let me know, and I'll get into what we worked on a little bit later. But just instances like that, I kind of did the same thing for other people that I caught on to around my circle of people. And then just random DJ friends that I've met, random producer friends, rapper friends, whatever, people I used to used to work with. Shout out Gerald. We used to work with Gerald. Shout out my boy JB Cool, JBC. We
Oh
worked on
yeah,
some.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just I've been in positions to where I could meet people in the music industry around surrounding the music, uh, the music scene, and I've been grateful for that. But I want to expand even bigger and even better, you know?
For all the people you've met, bro, it's pretty cool. You know, like I've helped you on some of the stuff you've done. You know, like JB Cool. What was
Yeah,
his
yeah.
song? I'm trying to get money, trying to get money. What
Yes,
was-
sir.
like, yeah, like he did that. You did that, and like it's pretty cool, bro. It's wild that like all the people you've met, you've at least had some type of way to help them out. Like I've helped you on
For
some of your
sure, for
stuff. I've
sure.
helped
Yeah.
them on. It's pretty cool, bro. It's pretty wild to think
Yeah,
like
it's
you've
like
been given opportunities, bro. Like
yeah,
you really do. Like
I've been
yeah,
put into positions to where I could like I said, show my skills, show my brand, and show what I'm about. And hopefully that can resonate with maybe anybody listening now or in the future, any of my classmates. I try to be real genuine about it too. I don't like to force things. So, every time I interact with people in the music scenes, I wouldn't say like just music friends, because, like they're my friends now. We build connections like that, and it's real cool to have that. But when I first started talking to these kind of people, like I said, legacy. Of course, Gerald. We met Gerald at work. Shout out my boy Crown Jones. Shout out Crown Jones right there. Shout out my boy. Uh, Roses out there. Shout out my boy Roses in Oak Cliff over there with Legacy. Shout out DJ Nell. I'm just gonna give a couple shout outs. Shout out DJ Nell over there. Uh, Man, too many people to list. Oh, Sheila Nicole. Shout out Sheila Nicole over there too. Too many people to list, but every time I've met and interacted with these people, I was always like, here's what I can do. We can work on something. I'm down. I'm down to work on anything. But the thing is, I told them like, look, I like to be genuine and I don't want to force these kind of things. So if you don't want to do a specific thing or I don't want to do a specific thing, like we shouldn't force it. It should be natural. And through that, me, like I said, we worked on Gerald. Gerald was a mixtape. I did the chopped and screwed part of it. I don't know if you guys know what chopped and screwed is. I'll get into that in a minute. But Charles helped me out with the cover and the track list and all that stuff in Photoshop. So shout out to you, Charles, for helping me with that.
no problem, no problem. Hit me up if y'all need any digital designs.
For sure, for sure. And yeah, like I said, I just don't like to force things. I like to keep it all genuine, and I love the idea of bringing everybody together. I like to keep it, all family. That's what I say. I like to keep it all in the family. So if I can meet a person like Legacy and then put them onto other friends of mine that are a part of the music scene, put them onto them, building connections with that specific person, but connecting them with people that deserve to be connected with, that deserve to have their voice heard, if that makes sense. So, that's real cool, and I'm grateful for the people that I've met this past, year and a half, and people that I knew back then in the music scene, people, just anybody in between that I met specifically in music. So, I'm real grateful for that, and it's a beautiful thing. And I mentioned chopped and screwed. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's uh, it's a of mixing, style of mixing coming out of Houston, Texas. Uh, Shout out DJ Screw. Rest in peace to DJ Screw, Robert Earl Davis Jr. Rest in peace to Screw. I don't know if you guys see the
SPM,
hat. Yes, sir.
SPM.
All that. But Screw kind of was the originator of what you would consider like, I guess now the whole slowed and reverb thing is what's popping like on TikTok or on YouTube. That whole slowed and reverb thing, you have to think back and kind of put knowledge that, you know, DJ Screw was the originator of that. And, he would take a, like an original track and slow, like imagine a pitch fader, slow it down and then slow it down on this side, and what I call is chopping. Like have the track over here, but have this track over here like two beats behind or two beats ahead, and chop. So it would repeat syllables, if that makes sense with you guys. Repeat syllables and scratching and all that. And one of my favorite Screw songs of is of course June 27th. like a 30,
Yeah.
30, 40 minute
Yeah,
freestyle.
30,
Everybody
40
on there.
minutes, man. Everyone is on the bro, I always played on the Gym 27. Always. You have to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a classic right there. So as far as that culture of Houston, I've always loved Houston culture. I've always loved chopped and screwed music. So I try to, of course, I'm not from Houston. I'm from Dallas, but I love that scene, and I just love representing for, of course, Dallas. I love representing for Houston, but I love representing for Texas as a whole. So I love implementing that chopped and screwed kind of thing to my own style of chopped and screwed, of course. I don't know if you guys are fans of DJ Screw or fans of that kind of thing, but back then there was a whole thing like if Screw didn't do it, it ain't a screw tape. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys have heard that phrase. Anybody familiar with that kind of stuff? But like I said, if Screw ain't do it, it's not a screw tape. So yeah, like I was saying, the whole saying of if Screw didn't do it, if DJ Screw didn't do it, if Robert Earl Davis Jr. didn't do it, it's not a screw tape. And of course, with respect to that, because we've had conversations about this, me and you, like,
Yeah. Now
uh,
hold on. Before you keep the thought going, when you're saying like if it ain't Screw, he didn't, if DJ Screw didn't make it, it ain't Screw. I remember we talked about this earlier. How do you feel like if you want to make chopped and screwed? You told me earlier, like way back, like bro, I don't know if it's not the community's not gonna like it because it's not
oh
DJ
yeah,
Screw. How are you gonna cope with that? Like, is that just a thought? Is that a thing, or is that just
I
you?
I don't know, because there's plenty of people after Screw that did chopped and screwed music, like DJ Michael Watts. I think they were doing it around the same time, but Screw was more popular in a certain part of Houston, and Michael Watts is more popular in another certain part of Houston. Forgot one of either the south or the north. I don't know. Forgot the areas, but there's people like Michael Watts. I was put on to people on SoundCloud that I found that do chop and screw stuff, and yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people, but like, I think the reason I had that because I was trying to respect Screw as I consider him an inspiration. I consider him, a Texas legend, a world legend, because you would hear influence of chopped and screwed music, like in, for instance, I don't know if you guys remember that T-Pain song. I think it was with chopped and screwed with Ludacris, the whole thing, and you hear it in
Yeah,
some of Future's stuff. You hear it in like some of Wayne's stuff, Lil Wayne. Like you kind of hear what that influence of what Screw did and stuff now, you know what I mean? So I was trying to, respect his name, respect his legacy, respect him as a legend. Me personally, just I think he's a legend, but you know, and I think I've talked about this before on my Instagram, but I can't replicate what DJ Screw did. I can't, I can't ever, and I don't want to ever try. But I love taking inspiration from people like Screw, first and foremost Screw, but Michael Watts and people I find on SoundCloud that I like that do chopped and screwed stuff. Shout out to the Chop Stars over there in Houston too. They do a whole bunch of newer music like Drake and Future, Lil Baby, like all of that. They do all that, uh, but in their own way. They call it like I think chopped up, not slopped up. So shout out to the Chop Stars. But the whole thing, like I said, I wanted to respect him and respect the culture of it. But eventually I felt like people wouldn't really find my stuff if I called it something else, if that makes sense. If you want to type in Chopped and Screwed, you can find a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever. But if I think I was gonna call it something else like Chopped and Throat or Chopped in something like. But I feel like it wouldn't have popped up if people wanted to go look for it, if that makes sense. That's kind of why I just decided I'll just keep it Chopped and Screwed, honestly. But like I said, I can't replicate what Screw did, and I'll never want to. But I love keeping that culture.